And we are back on the Zero Hour. With us now is Elliot Fineman, who is president and CEO of the National Gun Victims Action Council, which he formed after the tragic death of his son, shot by a paranoid schizophrenic in 2006 with a legally obtained weapon. He is also host of a radio show here on We Act Radio Network called It's the Guns Stupid, and it's called that because it is. Elliot, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, RJ, for having me. Big fan of you and big fan of your show.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm a great admirer of the work you do, which is tragically still just as needed as it's been in previous years. And it's astonishing. We don't seem to learn from experience over and over and over again. Why is that? You must have a theory.
Well, it's not that we don't learn. It's that there's a small group of very vocal, fanatic extremists who dominate the agenda or the media or the talking, points about all of this. And they've done it for so long that it's almost seeped into the culture by now. Such phrases as law-abiding citizens have a right to carry guns for self-defense are regularly, mouthed by the media, by the judiciary, by commentators, everywhere. And a statement like that has some kind of appeal, on a subconscious level. It seems reasonable. Gee, maybe people should be able to carry, weapons of self-defense. The only problem with that, and I'm just picking that one as a quick one to answer your question, there's only two problems with that statement. Law-abiding citizens have a right to carry guns for self-defense, and that is that what's a law-abiding citizen? It's not a constant, as the NRA
Right.
would have you agree. Every criminal was once a law-abiding citizen, so to ask me to put my faith in law-abiding citizens is foolish. Much as I'd like to, the evidence doesn't allow me to. And the other thing is that the element of surprise always defeats the gun carrier. If carrying a gun provided self-defense, for example, no police officers would ever get killed. And as we saw just horrifically the other day in Las Vegas, that's not the case. The element of surprise renders carrying the gun for self-defense essentially worthless. So,
Right. And in fact, the death count I talked about the Las Vegas shooting in my monologue. The death count in Las Vegas would be one less if that bystander hadn't tried to step in with the gun. He would be alive today. Whereas in the shooting in Seattle, Washington, at the Christian University, the shooter was overpowered with pepper spray by a student guard. So we got our work cut out for us on this issue, and your latest battle front is Hallmark cards, which will surprise people a little bit, perhaps. But with graduations coming up and Father's Day and many occasions in the next several days to purchase cards, why Hallmark cards? What's going on there?
that's a question everyone asks because Hallmark is kind of the Norman Rockwell of our time.
Right.
There's three reasons, really, for why Hallmark, actually four. Why Hallmark specifically is that they, like every corporation in the country, including the NRA, I might add, bans guns in their corporate headquarters. Why would they ban guns in their corporate headquarters? Well, maybe they think they're dangerous. Of course, they know they're dangerous, so they ban them. But they don't call for a ban on guns in their Hallmark Gold Crown stores. You can come in with guns, and even if they wanted to say it's okay for people to come in with guns, which is outrageous enough, they could at least post a sign warning people that this is not a gun-free zone, that guns are welcome here. But of course they don't do that because they know the people would not come in. The second, the third reason is that Hallmark was recently mistakenly put on the NRA's enemies list. They had published an old list, and Hallmark was on there because the prior chairman had supported, made a donation to a movement in Missouri that required a permit for for conceal and carry. So they were put on, and they responded. They were outraged that they were on the NRA enemies list, and their spokesperson emphatically put out a statement that Hallmark would never, ever oppose or support any anti-gun regulations. Now, anti-gun regulations are things like smart guns, according to the NRA. Any regulation is an anti-gun regulation. The NRA doesn't want background checks, for example. So, to the Hallmark's way of thinking, that would be an anti-gun regulation, and they would never support it. So, for those reasons, those are the three main reasons, of their direct actions. Additionally, if you go to their website, they publish and state emphatically, repetitively, that they support families, they support children, they're decent corporate citizens. They not only say they are, but they actually are in the communities they serve. And yet here's the number 2 killer of children, firearms, and they don't want to take a position. We teamed with the Newtown Victims and Clergy for Corporate Responsibility and wrote a letter to their chairman asking that he meet with us and explain, this paradox. Well, he refused.
And he wouldn't meet with. He didn't meet with you.
Wouldn't meet with us. And
well,
said, sorry.
And unfortunately, we've only got about a minute left, but a little less. But so, what can people do to support this boycott? You convinced me.
Okay. Well, just quickly, the chairman said they don't get involved in divisive issues, which of course is not true because they have 8 lobbyists getting involved in it. What people
and by saying they don't support gun laws, they've already gotten involved. So
exactly.
Where can people go to find out more and support you on this?
Go to our website, www.gunvictimsaction.org. Don't buy Hallmark cards. We have cards you can download for free or send electronically for Father's Day and for graduation. And also, don't you send emails or post on their Facebook page or Twitter that Hallmark has to become a real corporate citizen, support universal background checks, and advocate for them. Not just the words, but to help us get them. We're going to move corporate America off the sidelines, and Hallmark's going to be the first one. So
great campaign, and I encourage people to do that. I'm going to do it myself. Everything you just said. Elliot Fineman, head of the National Gun Victims Action Council, Boycott, Hallmark. Thank you so much for being on the show.